Hi Angela, welcome back.
Hi sir, how are you?
I'm good. Please call me Herschel. You can call me sir in the classroom.
Okay, hi Herschel.
Alright. How are you doing, since we last spoke?
I'm doing well. I had a lot of reflecting to do. But I think I'm ready to move forward with this.
Alright, okay. I'm glad to hear that. When I was speaking to your mom earlier, oh, she didn't tell you.
No, why were you speaking to my mom?
Oh, no, she just phoned. She heard you were in therapy and she heard I was a therapist, so she just called to see how the first session was.
I'm not too happy about that. She's gonna say I'm being weak for asking for help.
Don't worry, I reassured her that's not the case.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
alright. Sorry, I didn't even think, I just answered and we just started speaking. She seemed like a nice person.
Okay.
It sounded like she had your best interest, but
sometimes she pretends.
is it?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Alright. Sorry about that, you can't really blame me if I didn't know how she is in that sense, but
Yeah, no, don't
I'll take note of that as well.
Thank you.
Alright, okay. I'm trying to think, there was something else. Oh yes, I still wanted to send you an email just to explain it, but the fees have also gone up by 300 Rand for each session, even this session today. So yeah, that's just something important that you need to know as well.
Okay. I'm gonna have to make some moves for funding, but that's okay.
Alright, okay. Yeah, it's one of those unfortunate things, but in the end, therapy, it's worth it when it gets to it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Alright. Okay, so we've got all the admin things out of the way. Now we can get back to work with the serious things. So if I remember correctly, I didn't go over my notes before, it was just too crazy, but if I remember correctly, we set about 2 goals that we set for therapy. The one would be working on pressure, all the pressure that you're experiencing, and the other one, was it, I don't know, was it conflict or was it perfectionism?
It was perfectionism.
Was it perfectionism?
Yeah.
Alright, so always wanting to be perfect with everything.
Yes.
Alright, okay.
But I'd also like to work a little bit on coping mechanisms
Alright.
for the stress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you feel like the coping mechanism is also important.
Yes.
Alright. I think we did speak about that in last week's session.
Yeah.
Alright, it's ringing some bells. Alright, okay, so I think, one of your homework activities was, it wasn't homework, it was reflection, therapy homework, that's right.
Yes.
So one of your therapy homework was to go and, reflect on the goals and what you want to achieve. Were you able to do some reflections?
Yes, I did. I was thinking, if I work on the perfectionism, it would just mean I could be happy to just be myself, to just be present in the moment. If I could work on the pressure, it would just mean I can actually just calm down, because being stressed the whole time has not been fun.
Yeah.
And I think just being able to take a step back and reflect a little bit on what's going on around me instead of always being in the pressure will be helpful.
Alright, okay. So very much being okay with yourself, not having to always have everything perfect, but being okay with that sense. The pressure part, just being a bit more calmer or maybe a bit more relaxed in different situations.
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned, was the conflict management. Did you reflect on that one as well?
A little bit, but I don't know, for me it's difficult to say no to people. So I think if I can have some conflict management tools in my toolbox, then maybe I can be able to say no to people and be able to deal with whatever comes out of me saying no.
Alright, so very much it's more about you being able to say no to people.
Yes.
Not so much about, dealing with conflict.
I think I have a fear of conflict starting up if I say no.
Alright.
So having conflict management skills might help me navigate that in case it happens, and then I'll be less afraid of saying no.
Alright. Okay, so the conflict management skills will assist in being able to say no, so that you're not as afraid, or you're not fearing the consequences of saying no.
Yes.
Alright. Which, we've mentioned 3 goals now, and it's quite a lot to work on, and it's good, we do need a lot of goals. I'm just trying to think, which one of these 3 would you want to work on first, or which one do you feel is most important to you?
At this point, I think perfectionism would be the most important one.
Alright.
And I feel like that'll help manage a lot of the other ones.
Alright. So if you can quickly remind me, what does perfectionism look like to you, or how does it play a role in your life?
Well, the big thing that happens is I'll be working, I know I have a deadline due for an assignment, but I'm so scared that I make a mistake on my assignment that I just don't start at all. And then the night before the assignment, I'm sitting there trying to type it out, and it's too much. I just want to be okay with starting something and being okay with it, maybe not going 100%.
Alright. So what I'm hearing is, you actually, the fear of making mistakes is actually leading you to procrastinate the work.
Yes, definitely.
So instead of just getting started, if you don't start it perfectly, it's not worth starting, or I shouldn't start.
Exactly.
How is this influencing you or having effect on you?
I think it adds a lot of pressure. A lot of stress gets added because I feel like I'm not good enough.
Yes,
I feel like no matter what I do, how hard I try, it never feels like it's enough. And so then I just kind of give up on even trying hard, because why try if you can't do it perfectly?
Alright. So perfectionism and pressure almost going together in this case.
I think so.
Alright. Is this something that's very important for you, academics? I hear a lot of depression, perfectionism around the academics.
Yes, definitely, because I've got high goals for myself. I really want to get into honours, so I need to be getting above 90s, and it needs to be good.
Yeah. Alright. So is it in other areas of your life as well, or is it just academics?
I think it features mostly in academics. I don't really see it anywhere else right now.
Okay. What kind of, I'm trying to think, when we're setting goals, it's very important that these goals are in line with what's your values and what's important to you. And if we worked on these goals, how would you be able to say, this is actually valuable, I want to achieve this goal, it's important to me?
That's a tough one, let me think. I think just being able to do my work would align with a value of kind of self-care, kind of being able to do things, try new things, because that's very important to me. So always be learning, always trying new things.
Yeah.
And I feel like right now my perfectionism is stopping me from being able to try new things.
Okay. So for you it's very important to have this openness, being open to new experiences or trying new things, and this is kind of impeding that openness that you want to strive for.
Definitely.
Alright. Okay. I'm trying to think, if we started, okay, sorry, I'm bouncing a lot, I'm trying to remember, I'm working from Egan's model, I'm just trying to remember some of the stuff, I can't remember everything always. Okay. Not a computer. Okay, yeah. So if we're talking about, how important these values are, this goal is for you, what would help you to make it stronger that you want to achieve it?
I don't know. What would make me want to achieve not being perfect? I think being able to start something and knowing that I can start something and get it finished, because right now I can't do that. I'm struggling to just get started. So I've got the strong motivation to learn how to get started on doing something. I think that would drive me to keep working towards it. If I start feeling, okay, I can actually start this project, I can achieve this.
Okay. Right. I'm going to interrupt your train of thought there, because I remembered now, one of the things we also need to discuss is the incentives of the goal.
Yes.
Alright, so what would make, we have discussed this, haven't we? What's making it important for you?
Yeah, I think we have.
Alright, okay. So I'm very, very everywhere today.
That's fine.
You must excuse me, it's not always like this.
That's fine.
Alright. Okay. So now we've said, that's what I wanted to say, yes. So if we worked on this goal of, the perfectionism, the pressure, so that you're able to, be open to more experiences, would that, would you feel that's the most important thing to work on at the moment?
I think it's on the top of my list right now.
And this would bring the biggest amount of change for you, or the biggest differences in your life? I
think so. I think if I can manage my academic pressure better, then I'll be able to manage other parts of my life better. Because if I don't have to be perfect in school, I might not have to be perfect at home or be perfect with my friends. I can just be me.
Okay. All right. In that case, I think let's start working on this goal.
Okay.
All right. I remember we spoke a little bit about, obstacles or things that you think might impede your goals. If you had to think of this goal of perfectionism and pressure, can you maybe think of anything that would be a problem or impede your goal?
I think, like what we discussed earlier, being able to say no to someone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that can very much put a block in there, because I might not start my own project because I don't want to say no to someone else asking for help.
All right, so not struggling to say no to other people.
Yes.
All right. How do you think we can resolve this?
I don't know. Maybe just practicing being able to say, I can't do this right now, I need to do other things.
All right, so the one thing is we can practice, saying no.
Like boundary setting.
All right, so setting boundaries.
Yeah.
All right. What else can we put in action to help you, enforce this goal?
Maybe role play. We can practice out a session where you say no to, or I have to say no to you about something, and then you get mad at me, and then maybe one where you don't get mad at me, so I can kind of practice what it would be like in other situations.
All right. Okay, yes, we can do role playing as well. All right, so you've got where you practice, where we're going to do role playing. What else can you think of?
I think that's all I can think of for now.
Is it? All right. I think we might need to think of a few extra additional things, because the more options we have, the better the chances are of achieving the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I can give you some examples of activities to do as well. All right, when was the last time you said no to somebody?
I don't even remember.
Is it?
I'm always just yes.
Okay. I think what you should do is the next time somebody asks you something is just say no straight away.
Okay.
Just, as soon as they ask you, just say, no, I can't.
But how do I explain to them why I'm saying no?
I'm trying to think, do you think you need to explain to them?
Maybe I don't have to, but I feel like I should. Can I just say no without giving an explanation?
I think you can.
Okay.
I don't understand why not.
Okay. When they get mad at me.
And then, so what? What does it matter,
But I don't like it when people are mad at me.
But that's not the goal that we're working on right now. See, we're working on the goal of, saying no to people, that perfectionism. Isn't that what you said is most important?
Yes, it is. Okay, I will try saying no to someone.
Okay. Would you mind passing me that pillow?
No problem.
You didn't say no. Okay.
But you asked.
Right, so you failed the first activity. I think we're gonna have to try and think of more solutions as well. I think it's gonna be a bigger challenge than what we expected or anticipated. All right. Okay. Let's think. What if we took, your academics and being perfect there? The next time you write a test, maybe you make a mistake on purpose.
Oh my goodness. That's a bit of a scary one. I can try, but I already make some mistakes in the test. So I don't know how that's going to affect my marks.
That's true. How do you think it would influence your marks?
I don't know, maybe I'll just lose 2 or 3 extra marks. It could be the difference between a distinction and not a distinction. But maybe I should just be okay with that?
Maybe. It's your, remember, this is your journey. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, I'm just trying to help you here.
Yes. Okay, I can try doing that. I've got a test coming up next week, so maybe I can give that a go.
Okay. And I think then, write down how it went, what was your experiences, what did you struggle with, what didn't you struggle with, so that we can identify what's going on and actually work on these that you are struggling with.
Okay.
All right. I'm trying to think what else we can do to, set this plan in motion to help you with the perfectionism. We've got 1 or 2 things. Can you think of anything else?
I think maybe I can do something like leave my room a little bit disheveled. Like don't put everything where it's supposed to be, leave something a little bit askew,
Yes.
just to start being okay with things not in my environment not being
Yeah.
exactly how I think they should be.
Oh, that's a good suggestion, yeah. Alright, yeah, I think try that one as well. Because now you've got even more things to do to help you not do it perfectly.
Yes, yes.
Alright. Alright. I think, I don't know, I feel like we've discussed this a lot. Do you feel like there's something more you want to add with the perfectionism and the pressure?
No, I think let's start small first and see how it goes. So I'll start by trying to say no to people and not giving an explanation. I will try to make a mistake on my next test on purpose, and I will try to change something in my room or in my environment to make it just not exactly how I would want it to be.
Alright, okay. Yeah, I think that's a good action plan that we've set in motion then, and you can, you know, do that between now until our next session, and in our next session we can discuss how they've gone.
Okay.
Alright. I think we can maybe move over to the next goal, you know, which was the conflict, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Alright, so you said, you know, you want to be able to handle conflict a bit better. Alright. If we're setting the goal, how can we understand, you know, what it is about conflict that you struggle with?
I don't like it starting up in the first place. So I try to navigate my way out of a conflict situation. For example, I just won't say no to the person because of fear that there might be conflict. So I think if I can know that I'll be able to handle a conflict situation, I might be less afraid of confronting people and setting my boundaries and really just being myself. Kind of like not a fear of being alive, and I think that's why I want to focus on conflict management.
Alright. So a lot that I'm hearing with conflict management is not so much avoiding or staying away from conflict, but it's more dealing with that fear of, you know, anticipated conflict.
Yes.
Okay, so it's more when you feel there might be conflict or when something happens, that's when, you know, you don't want any form of conflict, so you'd rather do something else that will make sure there is no conflict.
Yes.
Alright. What impact is this having on you?
It's again it's just saying yes to everyone and putting too much on my plate that I can't manage what's going on. So I feel like if I can just learn to manage with potential conflict, even though it might not even be there, then I'll just be more willing and able to say, whoa, I can't do this with you right now.
So you're telling me that, you know, by always saying yes or always adding everybody else's things onto your plate, it's actually adding extra pressure and it's almost like you're overwhelming, or everybody else is overwhelming you, but you're kind of giving them permission to overwhelm you.
Giving them permission to overwhelm me. Never thought of it like that.
So if you are giving them permission to overwhelm you, or, you know, add all of these things onto your plate, where is this, you know, stemming from? Where do you think it originated from?
I think it just comes from my mom always telling me you need to be a strong, independent woman. The only way you're going to make it in this world is by being a strong, independent woman. And I think becoming afraid of asking for other people for help kind of makes it that I take on other people's tasks. Because I don't want to be like, hey, I can't manage my own stuff. I want to seem like I'm managing everything in my life perfectly and not let other people know that I might be struggling with something. So I feel like if I can help you, that shows that I've got my things sorted out.
Alright, so it's very much trying to be, or, you know, almost display this independence, you know, the strong independence by taking on everybody else's things as well. Alright, so the independence is very important to you. And how is, you know, trying to avoid the conflict or trying to, you know, almost stop conflict before it happens, how is this having an influence on your independence?
It's taking it away completely because I don't have a sense of I can do my own things, live my own life, make my own choices, because I'm constantly being bombarded with other people's needs, other people's desires, and so I just have no control over what I actually need to do and want to do.
Alright, so it's very much you know, instead of by you saying yes to everybody, it's you're giving away your autonomy, you're giving away your you know, your freedom almost and your independence, because now you have all of these responsibilities to look after.
Exactly. Like I don't have the freedom to choose anymore. I have to do what I've been asked to do.
Alright. Would you say if we helped you to work on your freedom of choice, that would also help?
I think so. I think that could be beneficial. Just knowing that I'm allowed to make decisions and how to maybe go about making those decisions for myself.
Alright, so okay, so then that sounds like it's quite important for you, you know, your own autonomy, your independence, being able to make decisions for yourself.
Yes.
I'm wondering about actually sticking to those decisions.
Yeah, that's a different story, because it's easy to say no to someone and try to do my own thing, but then I procrastinate my task because I'm scared of that going wrong. So then I end up being like, oh, never mind, I can help you. So I don't know how I'm gonna make sure I stick to that.
I'm hearing you, while you're talking, actually contradicting yourself a little bit. On the one side, you're saying, you know, it's difficult for you to say no to people, and now you said it's very easy for you to say no to people, and I think that's maybe coming a bit back towards being, you know, almost with the people pleasing in that sense.
Yeah, maybe, because it's not that. I'm thinking now after therapy, and I now practice trying to say no to people.
Yes.
I'm scared that, okay, I practice saying no to someone, so now I have my independence, and then when I have that independence, I won't know what to do with it.
Alright. So, is it then, you know, being afraid of independence, or is it maybe being afraid of, it's almost like, sound like being alone?
Yeah, I guess it can be lonely. I mean, I don't have support from any of my friends, I'm always just the one supporting them. I don't have, my father doesn't even speak to me, he won't even give me 5 cents for a toffee. My mom is just always so busy. I mean, she's got my sister to look after and work, so I'm kind of alone in this.
I'm wondering if we focused on the, you know, the being alone part, not so much maybe the conflict and the people pleasing, but you know, this fear of being alone. If we made that, you know, one of the aspects that for you to work on for yourself, if that, do you feel like that would be beneficial for you, or if that would have an impact on your life?
I think it could help, but I'll still be alone. So even if I work on that fear, I'll still be in that situation. So I don't know how I would overcome that fear.
Alright, let me ask you a question. Let's say we are, you know, going into the future, and it's, you know, a year later. You've come to therapy, done all the sessions, you've worked and everything, and this fear of alone has disappeared. You know, who is this Angela? What does she look like?
I don't know, she'll be willing to go to the mall and have lunch there by herself without worrying what other people are seeing. I'll be able to be at home and not worry about everyone else and what I have to do for everyone else. Because right now, I guess I probably take on other people's tasks so that I don't have to be alone. Because they're always messaging you like, hey, how's it going? Can you help me with this? So I don't know, being able to sit alone at home and watch a movie without always trying to see how can I connect with other people the whole time, and just be happy being alone.
So there's, you know, happiness in being by yourself.
Yeah.
Almost has like a sense of, you know, self-confidence that's there.
Yes.
You know, I'm confident to sit and have lunch by myself. I'm confident to, you know, just sit and watch a movie and not try and connect with people or wonder, you know, what they're doing or anything in that sense. Alright. Can we then rephrase the goal of not saying, or instead of saying, you know, being afraid of being alone, to working on self-confidence?
Yeah, I think that could work.
Alright.
I think that could work.
Alright, so then, you know, focusing on, or looking at, you know, helping you become this more self-confident person. And like, you know, that would be one of your ideal characteristics, is working on being more self-confident.
I feel like self-confidence will also help in a lot of the other areas that we've been discussing. If I'm confident in who I am, I don't have to be perfect the whole time.
Yes.
If I'm confident in who I am, I can say no to people without worrying that they're gonna hate me.
That's true, yes.
So I think that could help in a lot of aspects.
Okay. I think what I want us to explore now is, what strategies can we put in place, or how do you see us starting this journey of working on your self-confidence?
Well, we'll have to start small, because right now I think my self-confidence is down here. So maybe something small, like I mentioned earlier, going to a restaurant and having, lunch is a little bit busy, so maybe having breakfast alone in a restaurant and just learning to be okay with that. I think that could be a good place to just get the ball rolling on that.
I want us to go into the future again. So let's say you're trying this activity and you're going to a restaurant and just to try and sit and have breakfast or lunch by yourself. Imagine you're sitting there. What do you see? What's going on through your mind, or what feelings are coming up? You just think about if you had to do this, say, after the session.
I think right after the session I'll probably be scared. The whole time I'm sitting there, people are looking at me, wondering why I'm by myself, and why don't you have any friends? So I think that's where it would be if I have to go right after the session. But maybe if I try it a couple of times in a month or so, those thoughts will quiet down and I can really just focus on the experience, enjoying the meal, maybe having a chat with the waitress, instead of constantly being in my head about.
Okay, and then that's good. So that, I would say, that's a very realistic goal to have in the future, and it makes sense that if you had to do it now, you'd be scared. I think the purpose of this was just to kind of help you to reflect on, okay, let's say you are starting with your plans or your strategies. What kind of obstacles can you foresee, or what can you foresee happening?
I can foresee myself just not doing it in the first place.
Yes. And that would be because of the fear or being the scared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if I want to go and sit there, I might not have the courage to just go and do it, because I don't have that self-confidence yet.
So I think what I want you to go and do now as well is to go and focus a bit more on when you're trying to achieve this goal, define it for yourself, right? So make a specific goal.
Okay.
All right. And one that's measurable as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're talking about self-confidence, what about your self-confidence? So you can be specific about it.
Okay.
How can you measure your self-confidence in this case? So let's say, if we're talking about self-confidence, specifically how, or what would you say specifically about it?
I would say right now I'm just scared to be myself, and it's probably because I don't even know who myself is yet, because I'm always trying to attach to other people.
Yes, yeah.
So I think knowing who I am and being comfortable in being who I am would help with self-confidence.
All right. So in this case specifically, just being a bit more comfortable with who you are.
Yeah.
All right. Measuring it, how would we measure it?
I think maybe in just my interactions with other people, we can see, I can do some reflecting after speaking to people at the end of the day and be like, was I presenting as myself that day, or did I feel like I was putting up walls so that I can keep that person happy?
Alright, so you can measure it through your reflections about what was going on. I have a suggestion that could also maybe work, but it could be measurable by saying, okay, if you go out to a restaurant, how long can you actually sit there?
Yes.
And how long are you comfortable? Yes. Next time, are you comfortable to sit there longer? So maybe you can start off with just saying, all right, I'm just going to go to the restaurant and I'll buy a takeaway coffee.
Yeah.
Next time I go, okay, I'll sit down and just have a coffee and then go. Next time I'll have maybe coffee and a small meal.
Yes.
And you can kind of measure, how long am I comfortable sitting here for myself?
I like that.
Right, so then you can also see if there's progress or if there isn't, then you can work on it.
Exactly. That'll be actionable for me to try.
Yeah, and achievable as well.
Yeah.
All right, because I think your goals do need to be achievable.
Yeah.
All right, and they also need to be realistic in a sense.
Yes.
Do you feel like this is something you'd be able to work on, able to do? It's not too big.
I think what you've suggested now has kind of because I was a bit scared of going to
Mm.
sit in a restaurant, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to actually do that. But I like your suggestion of starting and just going and getting a takeaway coffee by myself, and then trying to move the steps forward. I think that will make it more realistic for me than trying to jump to a full-blown meal by myself.
Yes, okay. And the other thing that we need to also consider with this goal is that, you know, what time frame are we going to put on it? By when would you say would you want to see progress or achieve this goal?
Well, I do have exams coming up in November. I don't even have a watch. But I have exams coming up in November, so I would like kind of that pressure to have been relieved by then. So maybe about a month, 2 months, I would like to be able to experience the more self-confidence of.
Alright, okay. I think let's put 2 months on it. We don't want a time frame that's too short and then you feel that pressure and that kind of thing. So we can say, we're going to average it around 2 months.
Okay.
Right. And I think if we're coming back to one of the other goals as well, this doesn't have to be perfect. This is trial and error. Alright.
Okay.
So we see how it goes, we come back, we reflect, and then we take it from there. Okay. I think before we end off the session, maybe you can just reflect on, what would this, maybe if we look at, the pros and the cons of achieving this goal, what would the pros be, what would the cons be, what would you gain from this, what would it cost you, what would you have to sacrifice, what would you gain, these kind of things.
Well, I definitely think I might lose some friendships, so that would be a con for me, because some people I know are only in my life because I help them and they can always come to me if they need something. But a big pro would be just being able to live without constantly worrying about what's going on around me and being more focused on what I want to do, where I want to be, how I want to get there. And by doing that, I'll probably make new friends and people who can support me on my journey, and instead of people who are detracting from my ability to grow.
So I'm hearing there's actually a big cost to it. There's a lot of things that you might lose along the way.
Definitely.
But then it also sounds like it's actually opening up doors for avenues that are a bit more beneficial or that you feel like would be better for you.
Yes, and could be more in line with my goals.
Okay. And I just wanted you to keep that in mind while you are working on these goals. That if suddenly you lose 2 or 3 friends now because you're just saying no, then that's okay. Alright, because then other doors will open up later.
Okay.
Alright. You can do this, I believe in you.
It's gonna be a tough one.
No, as long as you follow my advice and work on the goals, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Alright. Do you have any other questions?
None right now that I can think of.
Alright.
Maybe I'll do some reflecting after this session, and if I have anything, then I'll bring it to you next week.
Alright. Yeah, we still have about 5 minutes, but we don't have to do the reflections now. We can do that on your own time and then bring them with for the next session.
Okay.
Alright, Angela, thank you very much. Just have a lovely week and I'll see you again next week.
Yes, thank you. I'll see you in class this afternoon.
Okay, then I'll see you in class this
Yes,
afternoon.
thank you, Herschel.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.